They say those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Well, it's time to call out those who abuse their judicial processes at home and still lecture others on domestic matters. Isn't it time that the United States owns up to its own flaws before pointing fingers at others? Time and again, the US has meddled and tried to meddle in India's affairs, and this week was no exception. New Delhi is not taking it lying down. In fact, New Delhi has issued a strong objection to the remarks made by the spokesperson of the US State Department, who called for fair, transparent and timely legal process following the arrest of the Delhi Chief Minister, Arvind Kejriwal. Now, here's what has happened so far. Let's break it all down for you. Earlier this week, a spokesperson from the US State Department said that they were closely monitoring the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal. They encouraged a fair, transparent and timely legal process for him. Last week, the Enforcement Directorate, remember, that's India's financial crime fighting agency, arrested Arvind Kejriwal. He is the leader of the Aam Aadmi Party, which governs India's national capital. Also, it governs the state of Punjab. Arvind Kejriwal was arrested on charges of corruption. Now, this news caused quite a stir in India as it came just weeks before the country heads to the polls. It was also the first time in Indian history that such a move was taken. The ED arrested Arvind Kejriwal for allegedly being involved in corruption related to Delhi's liquor policy. Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party claims that the case is fabricated and has accused the authorities of making a politically motivated arrest. However, the authorities have denied any interference. Now, this is a complex political matter, to say the least, which we will get to later. But first, let me just tell you more about the diplomatic row itself that has unfolded between India and the United States. On Wednesday, India summoned the acting US Deputy Chief of Mission in New Delhi, following the comment made by the US State Department. In fact, the Indian External Affairs Ministry issued a statement telling America that India's legal processes are based on an independent judiciary, and casting aspersions on that is unwarranted.
The recent remarks by the State Department are unwarranted. Any such external imputation on our electoral and legal processes is completely unacceptable.
Now, India and the United States have a close friendship, but that does not mean that America can say whatever without being called out. A true friend is not afraid to point out when the other party is wrong, and that is why it's important to remind the US of the number of times an American president has used his power over the judiciary to settle political scores. Just look at the timing behind the many cases against former President Donald Trump, for example. Before the US Supreme Court restored him to the 2024 presidential primary ballots, many states tried to ban him from the polls. The Colorado Supreme Court invoked an archaic constitutional provision to keep Trump from appearing on the ballots. It was the first time a court had ever invoked the insurrection clause to disqualify an ex-president. Colorado was the first state to ban Donald Trump from the ballot, followed by Maine and then Illinois. What's common among these states, you ask? Well, they are all democratic states. And this raised the question, did the Democrats try to misuse the justice system in these states to damage their chief political rival? And if yes, it would have significant implications for democracies world over. Despite all of this, no Indian leader lectured the oldest democracy in the world on their internal affairs. India, the largest democracy of the world, did not meddle in US affairs. Look, the matter in India concerning the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal is quite complex. Both the authorities and Arvind Kejriwal have, of course, reacted. Kejriwal's arrest just days before the elections does also lead to questions being asked. If the ED had evidence against him, why didn't they arrest him earlier? That's one of the questions being asked, for example. On the other hand, Arvind Kejriwal, his alleged evasiveness as far as the law enforcement agency is concerned also casts serious doubts on his claims of innocence. Still, at the end of the day, it is a legal and political matter of India. And as the case plays out in the court, the truth will eventually come to light. However, the US must stop meddling in the affairs of others and start looking at their own actions. It's time to call a spade a spade. Forget about what's going on with the opposition in India. Can Washington take a hard look at itself? And perhaps it's time they did. It's long overdue. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.